Hey career boos, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about how today's mainstream western pop gets completely outclassed by K-pop. Obviously I am not saying that all of western pop is terrible and that you shouldn't like it. This is all just my opinion. Note that when I talk about western pop and western pop artists, I am solely referring to mainstream western pop artists, as in the ones who get the most recognition, the ones who get the most radio play, the ones who get to perform at big award shows, and the ones who are the faces of today's pop. In order to find most of the actual good pop songs today, you'd have to delve deep into the depths of Spotify. Of course there are some western pop songs that I do like, and I'm particularly a huge fan of the hyperpop subgenre. But this is not the type of pop I am referring to in this video, because this subcategory of pop does not lie within mainstream pop. Once again, in this video, I am solely referring to mainstream pop, and I'm not saying that the K-pop industry is perfect and superior in every way. We all know that it is very flawed. In this video I will mostly be talking about the music and performance aspect of things rather than what happens behind the scenes. So without further ado, let's get into the video. What I love about K-pop is how dynamic, energetic, and unapologetically pop it is. Something we haven't seen in mainstream western pop since the 2000s and early 2010s when western pop music was at its prime. The type of pop we have in mainstream western music today can barely even be classified as pop. It's just the same tired, mediocre, lazy, lackluster, Ed Sheeran type pop. Like where is the energy? Where is the zest? And where is Normani's goddamn album? I know that there are people out there who actually enjoy this type of low-key laid-back pop. But my problem with mainstream western pop is how almost every song adheres so closely to the same sound, same boring instrumentals, same lackluster vocal delivery. Western pop artists today are like a bunch of sheep. Then when you look at the K-pop industry, they deliver in every department, from the production of the songs, the music videos, the choreography, the performances. So much effort and hard work goes into everything both on stage and behind the scenes. Every era is so meticulously packaged and thought out. Then you look at western pop music and see that they can't even deliver on the music aspect, let alone everything else. I think one of the biggest reasons as to why K-pop has become so huge is because it is finally feeding pop fans what we have been craving and starving for years. I'd say that some of the only good pop songs and mainstream music we have gotten in recent times include Blinding Lights, Kiss Me More and some songs off of Sour and Future Nostalgia. Note that I was only able to list these few songs because finding a good pop song in mainstream western music today is like finding the holy grail. Even big pop artists such as Ariana Grande have noticeably started to stray from their pop roots, further leaving behind a void for pop music. Some of these western artists have even stated that they take offense to being labeled as pop artists. Like okay Halsey, we get that you're not like the other girls. There's nothing wrong with pop singers wanting to evolve and venture out and try new genres outside of pop. But the problem is that a lot of these western artists don't want to be associated with pop simply because it's so called generic and mainstream. But it's not even mainstream anymore because it's dead. And don't even get me started on EDM pop. That atrocity is not pop. It is repulsive noise that is too violent for my ears to handle. It was only good when Calvin Harris, David Guetta and Avicii did it 10 years ago. After that, everything went downhill, and y'all can blame the Chainsmokers for that. I know that K-pop also produces its fair share of EDM beat drop chorus songs, but most of today's western EDM pop has some of the most bare bones, uninteresting, dull, and lazy beat drops I've ever heard, even more so than Teddy's infamous beat drops. Another disease that has plagued mainstream western pop is that god-awful whiny cursive indie girl voice. This style of singing to me sounds so terrible that I can't help but cringe whenever I hear it. The worst part is that these artists probably think that they're so edgy and not like the other girls because they have such a quote unique voice, when they really don't, because it's everywhere. Bring back real singing. Now on to my next point. Today's western music lacks performers. Awards show performances these days have become so incredibly dull. We rarely see new pop artists that have the full package. That being, the ability to sing, have a talent for dancing, and have stage presence. This is especially true for the majority of male pop artists. I find it so offensive how some of these men have the audacity to go on stage and give the literal bare minimum. Like, how about you put down the goddamn guitar for once and actually do something? Where is the performance? I've seen more performance in pre-debut K-pop stages, at least on the female side. We have artists like Doja Cat and Normani, who are nice enough to not bore me to little tears. This is in complete contrast to the K-pop industry, which produces an unlimited amount of performers. This likely has to do with the fact that dancing, on top of singing and or rapping, forms part of the criteria to be a K-pop idol, whereas in Western music, dancing isn't a requirement to be a singer. But that's the problem. What we have in Western pop music today are pop singers, not pop stars. Another thing I love about K-pop is how it isn't completely oversaturated with sex. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be sexually liberating, but the fact that it is rare for a song to not be about sex in Western music is just sad and disappointing. Like, can you all seriously not sing about anything else? Now onto my final point. K-pop has more variety than today's mainstream Western pop, and is able to cater to so many different types of people, as it ranges from Twice to Blackpink, from Shinee to Stray Kids, from aespa to Dreamcatcher, and all things in between, all still whilst lying within the realm of pop. This isn't really seen in mainstream Western pop, where most songs don't really have any distinctness to them, and new ideas are not being put on the table. As K-pop fans, I'm sure most of us have wondered about whether or not we'd still be into K-pop years from now, when we might start drifting away from K-pop, and whether being into K-pop is just a phase. But looking at the sad and dreary state Western pop is currently in, I doubt that I'll ever be drifting away from K-pop anytime soon.